Hi, it's Jerry the King Lawler, and you're tuned in to the Don Tony and Kevin Castle Show. I don't know why you are, but you are.
Amazing, says some guy. These men have changed broadcasting forever. The Don Tony and Kevin Castle Show.
Hey, Kev, did you hear Roman Reigns? Yaki-da, huh? You get it, Kev?
Oh, yeah, just, I can't afford Skype. The baseball analogy.
Yeah, Kev, I just thinking, with Yaki-da, I don't speak Japan, and you f***ing people.
Oh, yeah, just, f*** you, DT.
What do you think about that, Kev?
Oh, well, Batista's pretty f***ing sexy, and, did I mention Roman Reigns gives me a boner? And, 1980s baseball and wrestling was better than anything else.
DonTony.com.
I had to get that little jolt of energy. So freaking tired. Last night, NXT TakeOver, recap show. Did not go to bed till about 4 in the morning, up at 6. Half a day at work, doing a game show earlier, which I won. And we're right back here once again. It is June 8th, 2020. Welcome to this edition of the Don Tony and Kevin Castle Show. I am Don Tony, and he is
Kev Castle. What's up, DT?
What's going on?
Not a much. Just finished watching Raw and getting my notes ready. Good closing for Raw. I enjoyed the last match, if that's the nicest thing I could say about it tonight.
Yeah, look, I think we all expected Nia Jax to, I guess you call that running down to ringside area, get involved in the match. Charlotte getting the win against the champion, just because of Nia Jax interference, blah, 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 blah. Look, before we get into wrestling stuff, for the last 8 days, been putting up a little tribute at the beginning of the show for George Floyd. Little message from Nelson Mandela that actually strikes home for yours truly. He is George Floyd. If it didn't happen today, he's going to be laid to rest. And look, I know all the stuff going on in this world is really, just turmoil. I'm learning on social media that a lot of racists don't know how to fucking fight. Because for some reason, every video I see of a racist confronting someone of color, they get their ass kicked. I mean, it's just, it's amazing to see how many racists out there don't even know how to throw a punch. I mean, they talk great with the mouth, but they can't fight. It's amazing. But here's the thing. I understand that George Floyd apparently had meth in his system. He has a criminal record in the past. But the reason why this still hits home for yours truly, besides the police brutality and the racism and everything, is that, people are like, oh, you should not be praising this guy. He had a lot of faults. And you know what? I have a lot of fucking faults as well. I've done some fucked up shit in my life as well. But that still does not warrant a reason for someone to die. So if anything, I actually feel empathy more because this person was flawed. We're all flawed. Nobody is perfect out there. I know on Twitter, everybody tries to convince you that they're perfect. They're not. I'm not perfect. Kevin's not perfect. No one out there is perfect. So, just hopefully this momentum stays. I have said it many times before, video is a fucking game changer. Keep showing those videos. Keep putting the cameras in the faces of all these people doing all this fucked up shit. And I'm telling you, it's going to scare some people, and maybe give them that little pause, like, holy shit, I might be recorded right now. And maybe that little pause. might actually creep a little bit of hesitation in them, and then they start thinking and start realizing, because we see all this stuff around the world, defund the police, and I wrote this on Twitter earlier, got a lot of response privately about it, but you could defund the police, you could do all that, that's nice, take away fun, but unfortunately, being a racist and having hate in your heart, guess how much it costs? It costs nothing. So you could take away money from police and this and that. Unless it changes from here, racism is going to continue. And honestly, if you want to mend fences, in my opinion, I'm not black, I can't relate. But in my opinion, if you want to start, mending fences, you make all misconduct about police officers and their career, you make that shit public. You make it transparent. Somebody's got a bad fucking record, you know what? That reveals that fucking precinct that has that cop hired, why the fuck you have this guy still hired? He's got 35 complaints against him in his career. You make that public so everybody could see it. We got Cuomo here in fucking New York doing press conferences every day, webcasts and streams and talking and well, you know what? You do the same thing once a week with the police commissioner and the community, and you stream it online so everybody could see it. If you have a cop, that whether he's on the job 3 days or 3 decades, if he sees another cop doing something he shouldn't, and you just stand there, whether you're afraid to speak up or you don't have the balls to speak up, you're an accessory, and you are in just as much trouble, or maybe almost as much trouble as the person doing it. Those are 3 very simple things that I'm not no fucking genius over here. It doesn't take a lot to come up with logical solutions. But unfortunately, and this is just the reality for everybody tuning in, Kev, myself, we don't have no blue check mark. And as much as I don't like blue check marks out there, because it goes to their fucking head, unfortunately, we could speak out. Unless we do it all together in droves, one single person isn't going to make a dent on anything. So just my 2 cents, because I wanted to just vent a little bit. I'm not in the greatest of moods today. And on a wrestling standpoint, we had Raw today, and I tell you, Kev, at 10:30 tonight, when Charlotte came out for a match against Asuka, and Asuka came out for a match against Charlotte, and then Sasha Banks' fucking music hits, I swear to God, I want someone to do a side-by-side from 8 o'clock p.m. and 10:30 p.m. I thought it was fucking Groundhog Day. We had the same 2 goddamn intros the same night. Asuka, Charlotte, the fucking Sasha, Bailey coming down the ringside. Oh, man, Charlotte and Asuka had a great match, which was spoiled by the Nia Jax interference, which is necessary for the pay-per-view. But I tell you, I was not feeling this episode of Raw.
No, I didn't like it either. I thought the same thing. I just, they opened the show, then again, 10:30, the same characters, music hit, watching the same thing. And listen, Charlotte's already been proven to not be a ratings draw at all. On NXT, they had some of the lowest ratings they had when she was on, and like the feature acts. I don't know what they're, and I like Charlotte. We've talked about this before. Me and you have both said this, that she's one of the best, whether you like her or not. I think she's robotic, or a lot of people like to bag on her and joke on her on other podcasts. She's one of the best, not because she's Ric Flair's daughter, because she's one of the best. Simple as that. But again, her presence isn't needed everywhere and anywhere. You know what I mean? It's a little bit overkill, a little bit too much. But it was a good match tonight. That was a good way to close Raw. The opening I wasn't crazy about at all. And they got the Iconics mixed up in this too. 2 people who can't work. Even though I was a little bit more impressed by Peyton Royce tonight, Billie Kay still is horrible. She needs to go back to developmental. She can't work at all. But Peyton was a little bit better. She had a little back and forth with Sasha, keeping up with Sasha. So, not bad. Yeah, she should. She should be able to at this point. But Billie Kay is like remedial. I mean, I don't know who trained her. I have no idea.
Did you see that pin? She just stopped the pin attempt for no reason. It's just she's horrendous.
She has no timing. She has absolutely no timing and stuff. And I think she's probably like, I could talk. I'll get by on talking. But it's not when your partner is getting better. It's going to be very noticeable. You can either keep up, unless they're politically loved in the back. they're going to be right at the forefront of the chopping block. I don't want to see anybody get fired, but I'm just saying that if they have another, furlough or firing, I don't know how Billie Kay keeps her job. It's beyond me. But Peyton Royce is getting a little bit better. But again, Charlotte is not this draw. And I don't know to force her. I mean, this is, people complaining about Reigns a few years ago. Charlotte is everywhere. She's on every show, everywhere, every week, every time. And I don't know why, DT. Is this to cement her? You don't think it's overkill with Charlotte's exposure?
No. It's definitely overkill. But,
right.
This is what happens when you focus on the 4 horsewomen more than anything else. And I've talked about this for the last 2 to 3 years. You have the NXT women's roster is the most talented women's roster in the United States. And for some reason, WWE, I think a couple of months ago, I compared it to the New Day and the Usos. It's like the tag team division, if people pay attention to it, it's pretty much been Shangada for a while. And instead of, the forgotten sons of bitches, forget about Jackson Riker's, whether he likes Trump or not. But when you look at the tag team division, it's pretty abysmal. And what happened is that WWE got in their comfort zone. And when things seem to hit a lull, we'll just put the Usos and the New Day, at it and this and that. And they did that for too long. And unfortunately, a lot of the tag teams did not shine. The Viking Raiders, they felt the need, instead of making these guys monsters, they realized, wait a minute, if they're monsters, see, this is the thing. Stupidity equals losses and believable losses. They made the Viking Raiders monsters. The AOP are not on television. And so the Viking Raiders, if you leave them as monsters, they look like they could squash everybody in the tag team division. So what we do is we take away the monster aspect of it. We'll make them act like goofs, bowling, decathlon, this, that, this. And when they turn into goofs, have weakness. You see big monsters. Even Braun Strowman, when he was the crazy monster, everybody got behind him because he's a badass monster. Then they decided to make him like a gentle giant, a friendly giant, a goofy giant. And what happened? Lost. Not all together. But being a giant and being goofy makes you in suspension of disbelief inferior because you're taking your monster aspect where you're cold and it doesn't matter. You could have your mother in front of you in the ring and you're going to knock her out to get the fucking win. But once you become a lovable giant, a lovable monster, then, your focus goes off and comedy comes in, and comedy equals losses more times than not. The Revival didn't work out. You look at others, didn't work out. You have tag teams that are together, they split them up. Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable, I thought was pretty fucking good. Fandango, Breezango, they put them on NXT. That would probably be a team that maybe is better suited for SmackDown now or Raw. Right. And they keep them in NXT. And it's just ass backwards. And as far as Charlotte, I have been saying this forever. Charlotte is the number one woman in wrestling for the last 10 years, bar none. And the problem is if you take away Charlotte, who are you going to have Asuka face tonight that is really, really smooth on the mic, that is a heel, that has a familiar face to them, that has cred, and could also pick up a victory at the expense of Nia Jax's influence. You take away Charlotte out of that equation, you tell me who she could have faced tonight.
Well, yeah, they tried it with Natty already, and it didn't work, and Natty already lost. So, there is really nobody else unless it's just bring up someone from NXT just for a one-shot deal.
Yeah, nobody would care.
There's really nobody. There's nobody. Yeah.
There's nobody. So this is WWE. This is not Charlotte's fault. It was funny. Triple H did a Q&A after the pay-per-view yesterday. And by the way, for anyone out there that has not checked out our recap yet, please do. We spent 90 minutes getting into everything. This show tonight will be 90 minutes as well. We will be done by 12:30 a.m. Eastern Standard. But check out that recap. But Triple H did a Q&A after, and Triple H said, all this stuff about Charlotte is garbage. About people, complaining about it, this and that. And even, with Charlotte having this belt, I hope everybody out there checks out our recap yesterday, because we talked about Rhea Ripley. And we talked about the idea of Rhea Ripley maybe turning heel, comes out there maybe to celebrate with Io Shirai of her win, then Rhea Ripley maybe turns. Triple H is saying, look, Charlotte being a champion and Charlotte losing the way she did last night is a bigger story. It's a bigger picture. Unfortunately, everybody out there wants to voice, their complaints, and they want their complaints to stand out. I bring this up with Jason Solomonster's Facebook page as a great example of it. Jason's page, all the moderators there that are great, they'll put a thread up, a sticky thread. All right, NXT TakeOver in your house. All comments go here. And then after about 20, 30 minutes, when there's 200 comments, you have every Tom, Dick, and Schmuck out there that can't accept that their complaint or praise is comment number 203. So what do? They post their own thread anyway. And they'll make some bullshit out there just to get attention. Somebody's birthday, and nobody really is sending any birthday wishes to them. Then they'll write a post, hey, everybody, I want to thank everybody for sending me birthday wishes, even though nobody sent any. Why did they write that? So they could get birthday wishes. People it's no longer expressing your view. You have to stand out. You have to be noticed. You have to be acknowledged. Your comments have to mean something. And, and I agree with Triple H. It's all garbage. Charlotte, losing yesterday and not being pinned. I saw goofs online saying, motherfucker, she can't even get pinned to lose the title. Geniuses, tell me whose decision that was for Rhea Ripley to be pinned yesterday. I mean, do these people even stop to think before they voice complaints that this is WWE's decision to have Rhea Ripley lay down and get pins and Charlotte loses the belt? People are blaming Charlotte. It ain't her fucking fault. This is WWE's fault, because they blew their load on the Four Horsewomen. They blew their load on Ronda, Charlotte, and Becky. And remember, it was yours truly that said, when it was Becky and Ronda, I said, no, you got to put Charlotte in there. Because if Ronda has an injury, or if she gets a brain cramp, or she just, hits a major lull, Charlotte could pick up and focus that way. And it's definitely overkill, but it's not a fault. It's not a fault. Who would you put in place of that? I can't come up with anybody.
No, and getting back to what you said, even about the fans who think they're smart aren't so smart after all, because they want to believe that Charlotte's in the back campaigning for herself to not get pinned. It's her fault. She's Ric Flair's daughter, which carries zero weight. I always laughed. That reminded me of when people thought that stupid story that they spread about Kurt Angle's ex-wife who made Braun Strowman beg for forgiveness. These fans just believe anything. People think people have stroke who don't have any stroke at all. Ric Flair has no power in WWE to get his daughter anything.
Well, you know what?
She gets it because she earns it and she works
for it.
It's a stupid narrative to push, and it's one of the reasons that makes group chats
having the name helps.
Toxic, having the name helps, but you got to put in the work. Did it help for David Sammartino? Did it help for Angelo Mosca Jr.? Just going to say
David Sammartino.
Yeah, Angelo Mosca Jr. We can go on and on and on. Eric Watts. Did it help for Eric Watts?
Watts, sorry. I think Eric Watts was probably the best out of the three.
He was probably the best out of all of them, but even, Kendall Windham, we can go on and on and on. But, that's for anybody to think that Charlotte campaigns in the back, like, I'm not taking the pin. That's to push a narrative of when you don't like somebody. That's people want to put that in their head so they can bad guy you. And it's a justification for the ignorance. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Look, I don't see anybody out there. They might be a little disgruntled about Charlotte getting the focus of everything if you're a female wrestler in WWE. But I don't really see anybody ever stepping up and saying, wow, she's a nasty bitch. She is she could care less about all of us, and she thinks because she's you don't see. I mean, even the goofs out there don't even try to make up shit. You know, those are not, you know, with their anonymous sources. And by the way, I actually, did this on Twitter today, and I've decided it's going to be a regular feature from now on. And this is dedicated to, what goof, what school did you go to? All these goofs out there to put fake shit up. You and I always talk about these websites that guess, that have hunches, and they now try to make it as news. You say Dominic Dijakovic to Raw long enough, it's going to be right. It's going to be right. This is 2 fucking weeks in a row that he was there. He was taking on Apollo Crews 2 weeks ago. Velveteen Dream. And I said this on Friday. All these stupid reports, Velveteen Dream confirmed for Raw, Chelsea Green confirmed this Monday.
I did that before to be a
This
dick.
Monday. And then what happened? Velveteen Dream lost yesterday. And I wake up today to the reports that WWE has changed their mind for the present time for Velveteen Dream, but he could be brought up at any time.
Shit.
That is just garbage. That is trying to cover your shit. So what I have decided to do from now on is I'm going to put the stories out there. I'm going to out-goof the goofs. And I'm going to put the stories out there before they put the breaking fucking news. And I started today with Brock Lesnar, all right? Just to show you how easy this shit is, okay? Today, in Canada, they announced that they are relaxing their travel restrictions with the U.S. and within Canada because of COVID, the numbers going down. So the area that Brock Lesnar is in is one of those areas that Canada announced today that they're going to be relaxing, all the restrictions. And the U.S. is also going to be relaxing the travel restrictions with some countries any day now. So now I decide, okay, because Canada announced that today and because Brock Lesnar lives in Canada, that's why he is not on TV, for other reasons, but that is one of them. I am putting it out there right now that a lot of these goofs, the minute they saw today that Canada is easing restrictions, I guarantee you, I'll bet anything that tomorrow, the next day, you're going to have some of these goof websites write breaking news. Our sources tell us that WWE is looking to bring Brock Lesnar back for SummerSlam. Our sources tell us that they are likely going to do SummerSlam. And they have no sources. They just saw today that Canada is easing restrictions. So Brock Lesnar could travel now. Okay, I'll write that my sources tell me that Brock Lesnar is almost a lock to come back for SummerSlam. But things could change. And that's not news. That's not sources. They see the travel ban. Angel Garza, he's getting fucking momentum on TV. You see that WWE is starting to put a lot of stock in Angel Garza. They put him in a fucking graphic. I guarantee you some goof is going to write an article in the very near future. Our sources tell us that WWE is extremely high on Angel Garza. Quote, this guy has all the tools. He's so young, and it's very rare to have someone that young, to have all the tools. It's just a matter of time that he has a championship, unquote. That's how easy it is. All these quotes. Oh, our sources tell us that blah, 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 blah. Quote, blah, blah. It's all phony. It's all Chelsea Green. Right. You know why people changed their story about Chelsea Green today? Not because they got sources, but because Chelsea Green on her social media is still pushing the storyline with Robert Stone. If Chelsea Green was done with NXT and coming to Raw or SmackDown immediately, the fucking Robert Stone storyline would be it. Over. Ignore it. Done. Kaput. She could still show up in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I could fucking say that about Dakota Kai. Hey, our sources tell us that it's only a matter of time. Or WWE has a lot of interest of possibly bringing up Dakota Kai. The only problem is that they're unsure who they can actually feud her against. But look for Dakota Kai to be debuting on Raw or SmackDown sooner than later. Or we could say Shotzi Blackheart is on the fast track of being brought to Raw or SmackDown. WWE is extremely high on site. Our sources tell us blah, 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 blah. It's all fucking guesses. It's all guesses. It's amazing they have all these inside sources, and these sources tell them everything except for the spoilers.
Yeah, it's all guesstimations and speculation. It's not even really opinions. It's just kind of throwing it out there. Just
Yeah, all the NXT fans around ringside are all upset. They're being treated like children. They're standing all day long, and I'm saying to myself, you know, oh, meet the deli man, meet the butcher, meet the UPS fucking guy that works in the package department, meet fucking people who stand on their feet, meet the fucking the traffic cop, meet the fucking patrol person that has to walk across the street. There's so many. Meet the hot dog vendor that has to stay outside for $12 and sell hot dogs with sauerkraut. They just gotta stand on their feet all day. They're all fuck you. These fucking goofs have nothing. They have nothing. I fucking hate them. I hate them.
You are in a bad mood.
I am in a bad mood.
You are in a
Seriously, man. Yeah, so, we got to give a little best wishes today. Dominic DeNucci and Pete Gas. Go figure. Both in the same sentence. Pete Gas, I never heard of a partial knee replacement. My father's had two, so I know what my father's gone through. You don't have a partial fucking knee replacement. If you replace the fucking kneecap, you don't put half metal and half bone. You know? No. It's just, I know what the surgery he had, but the people out there don't even fucking understand what they're writing. But Dominic DeNucci had a stent put in his heart. You know.
How old is Dominic? Do we know?
I have no idea. Someone in the chat.
Be 80.
Yeah, he's up there. He's up there.
DT, he was over 50 when we saw him, and you saw him back at Ridgewood Grove, and I saw him at the Garden.
Yeah, he had to have been in his upper 40s. That receding hairline happened young in his age, but he did look like he was pushing 40, 45 in the early 80s.
He's got to be. Yeah, he's got to be about 80, but he's okay, right? Just got to stay.
Yeah, he's okay. You know, look.
88, DT,
88. Okay. All right. God bless him, man. That's awesome, man. 37 years ago. So 37. I saw him in 83 live. So that was 37 years ago. So 88 minus 37 is 51.
Wow. He's always a year younger than I am now. Wow. Yeah. Wrestling back then. Wow.
Yeah. So, stent in the heart. It's a serious surgery when you're 88 years old, but that frees up blood flow. Wow. I never forget one of my customers had a stent put in his heart, and he was a young guy. He was probably about upper 40s when he had it done, and he lifted his shirt. This was a couple of years ago. I think I talked about this once before, but he lifted his shirt, and he had a cut from the bottom of his neck all the way down, and they put stents, and they did this, and they did that. And I said to him, how do you feel? He says, I feel great. His warning sign was that he was extremely tired all the time. And the same thing with DeNucci. He was suffering a lot of fatigue. The oxygen wasn't getting to the necessary areas. But he had the stent done, and he had some other stuff done. He felt great. So best wishes to both of them. Absolutely. Before we talk about Raw, which kind of been a little bit uneventful tonight, what do you think about this? I'll say it like this. Do you think we might have a imminent feud, new feud for Tommaso Ciampa as far as an actual wrestling match feud? Do you think that's possible with what happened today on social media?
With Randy?
Yes.
I was thinking that too. Again, we don't know until we know. Guesstimation, yeah, possibly, because we were wondering what's going to happen to Ciampa now. Is he going to continue across, or does he go do something else? And the doing something else might have to do with Randy Orton, which would mean that Randy and Edge are going to have a final. This match will be the final, and then they'll move on to other feuds. So, yeah, I would say 60-40. It's a work, and it's building up a feud between the two, and of course Ciampa is playing the locker room leader. Randy Orton making a dopey comment again, whether it's a work comment or whatever, about the NXT pay-per-view, and Ciampa fired back. So if they're working us, yeah, I'd like to see that match between the two. I think it would be a pretty good feud, and it's something for Ciampa to do. We were just saying, where does Ciampa go from here? Maybe he goes to Randy Orton. Yeah. For those that don't know, Randy Orton went on Twitter and wrote, and I quote, "Heard NXT TakeOver in your house was great.
Slapping my leg for you guys. Sincerely, hashtag leg slap. So Ciampa writes back, I quote, "My daughter has been having trouble sleeping. Luckily, I found a remedy. Randy Orton matches. Better than NyQuil. Sincerely, hashtag an entire locker room who busted their asses." Randy responds back, "Look like I hurt the feelings of the self-appointed locker room leader of a wrestling school. Let me know what time hashtag leg slap class starts so I could take my game to the next level." Here's something that people, I think, forgot about or didn't pay attention about. The Randy Orton Edge match. Knowing that was taped, because that match already is done.
Right.
Knowing it was taped.
When?
Yesterday.
Oh, it was taped yesterday? Really?
Yeah, it was taped yesterday. So my point is, some people yesterday were like, somebody wrote in the comments, "Oh, DT, the whole NXT takeover in your house was live." No, if you remember, the WWE, what they do between each match, they disinfect, they wipe the ropes down, they do this, they do that, and unfortunately can't do it quick enough in just a video package. Not everything was live. But the thing is that if parts of yesterday was live, Randy Orton was in the same building as the NXT stars. Nobody on the show yesterday is a wise ass. No one on the show yesterday has had like a war with flippy stuff and this and that. So it was very random for Randy Orton in the first place to talk about leg slaps, because even yesterday's pay-per-view, we see leg slaps happen all the time. But, right now the WWE family is a family. So, especially through COVID and everything else. So this seems very manufactured. I find, I just find it very, just too convenient. The pay-per-view yesterday really had no complaints. It's not that there was no reason for Randy Orton to do that. And again, it's kind of interesting that Ciampa spoke more about Randy Orton than fucking Karrion Kross in this storyline. If you really look at it, Karrion Kross attacks him and fucking Ciampa's off TV or 2 or 3 weeks. Ciampa had more emotion about fucking Randy Orton's tweet than anything. So something's up over there. I don't buy it. I don't buy that stuff was legit, because I just don't see Randy Orton dissing the NXT roster that competed last night. Too many good names on that card and bright stars of tomorrow. No reason for him to do that. So I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all.
I mean, it's 50-50, but most likely 60-40 in the favor of a work. But Randy has been known to say stupid things before. Anybody who thought Randy was becoming a nicer, better Randy probably think again. It might have been his idea to even say maybe to just light a fire, because NXT is not the hottest show at the moment, but nothing is really until crowds come back. NXT is all about the live crowd. If anything is suffering the most from lack of live crowds, it's NXT. But Randy does what he wants anyway. So it's an interesting, again, to keep people guessing until we actually know. And I don't mean hearing it from Meltzer or anybody else, because that could be as much bullshit as anything else. But Ciampa it's interesting. He said the locker room leader. That's what we all think of him as. And did anybody else say anything to Orton that you saw, DT? Anybody else?
No one else in NXT. That's another thing.
Nobody?
Nobody else spoke out.
Okay.
I'm sure now someone will be like, I think we should all speak out, as a family, like everybody's fucking silent, but as far, to me, this is a misnomer that I keep saying on the Wednesday shows. I do not believe for 1 minute that NXT is suffering the most because of COVID. If anything, NXT
lack of crowds, they depend on the crowd.
No, I think Raw and Smackdown are suffering 1,000 times more. First of all, hearing 2 real deep male voices tonight during Charlotte and Asuka going, "This is awesome."
Yeah, that was kind of cringy.
It's like 2 voices. I mean, and again, good guy, cheer. Bad guy, boo. One thing that stuck out to me today was Christian's promo on Edge. Unfortunately, a lot of people online, they don't wait to fucking see the whole promo. Oh my God, Christian, what an asshole, talking to Edge like that. At the end of the fucking promo, Christian was giving Edge tough love. Ain't no fucking heel turn, goofs. But the thing is this, those fucking fans, I swear to God, I'm probably wrong on here, but I truthfully am starting to think that there is somebody in that building, in a corner, where the cameras don't fucking hit. And I think or they must hit a light or something to have the NXT crowd get loud and active. It's too fucking convenient, and I'll tell you where I'm talking about. If you watch this entire night tonight, they were fucking, so perfect on, where to react with Seth Rollins' comments, where to react with this one, where to react with that one. MVP comes out for an interview segment, and there's no reaction whatsoever, so that was probably taped without them even there. But when Christian cut his promo, you watch it throughout the first 85% of it, they're emotional, they're making noise, they're going along with it, Edge, 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 Edge. And then when Christian gets to the climax, he's about to blow his load, and he puts it all together. There's a final part of Edge's rant that was powerful, and that was the moment where everybody's like, oh no, he's on Edge's side. And he's like, that's the Edge I want. Just take notice that not one fucking fan, quote unquote, in the crowd said anything. That suddenly they were in a trance. They were mesmerized of what Edge was saying. They got goosebumps in their veins. Everybody, not one fucking, clap, not one, yeah, nothing. Complete fucking silence. I'm telling you, I'm starting to think that they must have colored lights. Maybe red for boo, green for cheer, and when the lights are both off, don't fucking say a thing. I'm telling you, you go back and you watch that, and you see the Christian out of the entire episode of Raw. I find it almost impossible to believe that all of Raw, with the exception of that one moment where he got passionate and put it all together, and don't give me, maybe WWE told them beforehand that, that Christian is going to, get really passionate towards the end, and we want utter silence. Like, they all fucking perfectly nailed it. Perfectly nailed. They all got 10s in the fucking high jump. I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. But,
I don't like the lack of enthusiasm. DT, why can't they just get 30, 50 fans, do a fucking contest, test them when they go into the building, let the fans, because the 50 legit fans will make so much more noise than these 30
too early
that they got back there, because they're not, they don't. It's funny, they say all these people are fans, that's why they got in the business, but they don't sound like it.
Too early.
I know the enthusiasm there though isn't there. That's the problem. It does seem manufactured. I'm seeing it more. I didn't see it as much a few weeks ago, but I saw it tonight. And you're right. It's cringy. It's almost, ugh. Again, well, it might be too early, but they gotta, it's the time is ticking away. It's going to get to that point. I don't know how early it is, but
well, you know what it is.
It's a few weeks away. You know what I mean? But get a bunch of fans in there. I mean, 50 diehard fans can make a lot more noise than these fucking shows.
Well, here's the problem, though, and this is what I said about 2 weeks ago on Wednesday Night Dynamite. The one thing that WWE is worried about is, again, listen towards the end of Charlotte and Asuka and those two fucking male voices going this. It sounded so horrendous. Now, those NXT fans, quote unquote, are being paid extra to be in the crowd right now. So now if you decide, okay, instead we're going to put 50 fans around ringside instead of the NXT, right, how do you guarantee that they're all going to be loud? I mean, for years and years and years. And when I went to wrestling events,
you vet them, DT. You screen them, and you tell them what you want.
How do you screen them? What do you say? You know,
people can sign up. People can sign up. What are they going to go there to be quiet? I mean, if anything,
that's an awful lot of screening to do. I mean, you know, you're gonna
50 people.
But you bring. Well, if you have 200 people at the door,
we can do that at the nightclub. We can screen 200 people.
What to screen them for? What that they're gonna get out of their seat and go, yay! You like we don't know. You know what I mean? What happens if they put 50?
When you do a video show, I've been part of video shoots. So we get people in who are going to be enthusiastic and stuff for bands. I'm sure a lot of people know what I'm talking about out there. When you go to be part of something, you're going to be an extra, a movie shoot, or any kind of concert video.
And what do you do? You got to turn people away?
No, people get into it, dude. Sometimes the people they
you got a family of four.
Sometimes.
The family of four.
If you have a family of four, you can almost have like a contest and sign up for it and shit, you know?
That's an awful lot of work to do. And then what happens if 2/3 go there and they're just watching? You know, for many years when I was a kid, you know, I'd be standing online, you know, as a teenager. Oh man, can't wait to get into the garden. Oh, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Excited. And there were many times that I would watch matches, and you know, I was very reserved. I wouldn't yell and heckle and this and that. Not everybody does that, you know. So they might be excited, and you're gonna be energetic, yeah. And then you bring them in the family of four, like, I gotta go.
You don't bring in a family of four. You bring in, I said.
Then you start turning people away. You know, it's
a once a week show. It's not like, you know, and they can do 2 tapings in one day. They can knock it out. It's done all the time in video shows.
I think of
time for live music video shows.
I think of TNA with the cast members telling them, you got to cheer, you got to boo. That's an awful lot to do. With the NXT stars, one thing that WWE is guaranteed is reaction, and the reactions that they want.
The reactions, but it comes off, as you say, Shangara on TV. It looks like garbage. So when they rather have something, when they look back and go, wow, that was hype, that looked good.
Yeah.
That came off good on TV. That sounded good. Isn't it more about presentation, DT, than just being convenience?
Sure, but once you open that bubble of, you know, offering some people to come in, you can't close it again. If you bring 1-2 crowds in a row, I mean, how many times have we done Raw reviews or Smackdown, and we talk about the crowd and like, wow, what a dead fucking crowd. You know what I mean? Like, I guarantee you WWE had no idea how some people will react. You might be excited and amped to get through the door, you know, but once you're in there and you're sitting live, you know, and remember this too, you know, it's the WWE stars too. I'm sorry, you know, this is just me, nothing personal, but I find it almost hard to believe that even if there's 50 fans in the building, when Dana Brooke comes out, everybody's going to be out of their seat, you know, Dana, let's go, Dana. Like, Dana Brooke, unfortunately, you know, there's like no noise. I mean, how many wrestlers come out for matches and there's just dead silence? So it's not necessarily the fans you got to worry about. It's what if the wrestlers are having a match and it's just dead and the crowd just can't get into it? I mean, what do you do? Do you during the commercial break, listen, everybody, we need you to get loud. We need you to get active. I mean, they always did that before.
Yeah, that's what they do, to have someone on the floor who does it again. But I've seen this done on video shoots many times.
Then how come it fails so many times when the crowds are dead during TV?
Well, it fails for them, but they've never been through this before. And you got to remember, there hasn't been a crowd since March, so people are probably hyped to come back to the show and be one of those select few who gets to go in there and be part of something. Especially if you can be seen on camera, because there's so few people there. So people are going to be hyped to be there. It's an experiment that they should try. What would it hurt to try it?
Yeah, because once they open that bubble, they can't close it again. And
you know, well, like I said, we're going forward now. Thank God.
I think
crowds will come back sooner than later.
I think WWE is going to wait until you can have much more people. And look, it's not that far away. When WWE can have 200, 500 fans again, you know, look, a lot of people don't even know this, but there are WWE events scheduled in October and November that is still on sale in different states. It's not that 2020 is canceled completely. So WWE, I think, is going to wait until things get. See, this is the difference between WWE and AEW, in my opinion. And I've been saying all along, AEW will be the first one to have some legit fans in attendance. What AEW will do is AEW, in my opinion, they will tell the people that work in the building, that work in the office, that work in the testing area, that work in here, if they got kids or they have, a couple of relatives that are wrestling fans, they'll let those workers bring their family to the shows. And even if those family members are dead as a doornail, or is that what it's called? Dead as a doornail? If they're just dead, like just life support dead, I think AEW would still have some of their wrestlers around ringside. That's something I don't think WWE would do. If they have fans around ringside, there's a reason why WWE's putting the plexiglass up and AEW isn't. So, AEW obviously has an open area, so the circulation of air is much, dramatically better. But I think AEW would test that more than anything else, and they would leave their wrestlers around ringside. Look, I'm excited that things are starting to turn around, especially after that horrendous article that came out today from Who. Did you see that?
Yeah, and to elaborate a little, we can get into that in a second, but just to let you know, because I manage bands, and a couple of bands called me today, said, Kev, Philly shows are on for August. I'm like, what are you talking about? And they sent me the information. I left messages for the promoters and see if this is real. I mean, the flyers were real. The information was real. I just didn't speak to the guys directly. Get us on the show. We're ready to go. And I'm like, well, Philly's neighboring to New York. How can they have shows? So maybe, again, it's so confusing right now, DT, to what the hell is exactly going on. We're in phase 1 officially as of today. And even my brother, Mike, was on, like how long do we have to wait for phase 2? And is it officially 2 weeks? Okay, if things go down next week, can it be fast-tracked up to phase 2?
Yes.
Yeah, but there's such confusion. But yeah, I mean, I got flyers today that shows in Philly are on in August. And I'm looking into them. I didn't speak to the actual promoters yet, but I saw the information. And I'm like, all right, if that's the case, then New York shouldn't be far behind because Philly's 3 hours away from us. So, you know what I mean? So, and I thought they got hit hard too, by the way.
Yeah. Well, that article that came out.
Shout out to Mitch, by the way.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mitch, by the way.
The article that came out today that just has people fucking livid. When I say what I'm about to say, a lot of you out there don't even know this yet. It's going to make you livid. Look, the World Health Organization, that is the World Health Organization that gets hundreds of millions of dollars. They're the ones that, was alleged by Trump that they hid the virus. They give favors to China. But here's the thing. Somebody came out today and said that asymptomatic people, what that means is you got the virus, but you're showing no warning signs of it. There's no symptoms yet. They're now saying that it is rare for someone who has the virus but not having symptoms yet, it is rare to transmit it to someone else. And the only explanation that I got from doing research tonight is that when the virus first enters your system, it's in your bloodstream. It's not in your droplets or respiratory. So if you don't see the symptoms yet, it's basically trying to camp out. It's like going into a campsite in your body and hey, where are we going to stop and camp? This looks like a nice area. And then they camp out. And then once they camp out, that's when they decide that they're going to multiply this, and then it goes through the drops and everything. So now they're saying that it's fucking rare. You watch how fast someone else comes out and says, oh, that's not true, and that's this or that. There ain't no way after shutting down all these countries across the globe that you're going to turn around and say, it's very rare if you have the virus but show no symptoms. It's very rare to give it to someone else.
Yeah.
After all of this shit, that's why I made the decision 2 months ago. I'm doing my regular fucking thing. I'll wear a mask. I'll social distance. I'll use a lot of sanitizer. I won't spray Lysol in my mouth anymore. But, if I have to in my office, when a customer leaves, I'll spray, whether they get offended or not. and I'll take my precautions. But I'm going to see my mom tomorrow. Every Tuesday, I see my parents now. This is the fourth Tuesday in a row. I ain't fucking listening to these motherfuckers no more.
Yeah, I feel the same way too. I mean, I'm completely frustrated again because our business has been decimated by this. I work at 4 clubs. One I know is, I'm not going to say names, so I don't want to put that business out there until they make an announcement. One club is not coming back. I know that already. They're like, fuck this, and they're going to relocate out to the West Coast or to more the South, probably in Florida. And they're probably smart to do that. It was a place I worked at for a long time. And, they didn't make an announcement yet, so I ain't saying where it is. But, it's upsetting because, again, we don't know, was all this worth it? And now everyone's questioning everything. And I knew that this was going to happen. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, because I know people who had the virus but never were asymptomatic. They stayed away from everyone, didn't see their families, didn't see anybody for birthdays, missed funerals. I had 2 friends and 2 bands I managed, both lost their moms during this time and did not get to have services, did not even get to be with them when they died. They were on a goddamn iPad, DT, to see their fucking mom in the ICU. And it's just very frustrating. And, again, when this is all said and done, I wonder how history is going to look at this. And there's no doubt, 100,000 people, I got it. A bunch of people died, I got it. But the cause and effect of other things is pretty catastrophic too, So I wonder what's going to come back. I know a lot of people have small businesses. DT, a lot of people have small businesses. I'm sure people in the area that you work in, DT, will all of them be coming back? Do you know that for a fact around you? You work in a mall area, right?
A majority are, and some already opened like 2 weeks ago, and they're just staying under the radar, being careful about it. One of the local restaurants, they had tables outside today. And there were people outside eating. And, the cops in my area, they've been pretty good about it, unless somebody calls and complains.
Yeah, they pretty much right now.
Yeah, they pretty much turned a blind eye to it. So, and unfortunately, Anthony Diaz, I got 0 yesterday. By the time I got the show done and put everything online and everything, somebody was sleeping and it was a miserable night. And I didn't go to sleep till almost 4 o'clock in the morning. So, but we'll get back into the other discussions. I love this one. Anthony Diaz also says that the crowd sounds like the WWF Attitude on PS1. I tell you, man, what an amazing difference at the fans that, quote unquote, that were on ringside yesterday compared to Raw or SmackDown. What a difference. And it's not because I enjoyed the pay-per-view or I'm a fan of NXT. I just thought that the fans yesterday, the NXT stars, were so organic with their cheers. You could tell that Triple H tells them, look, just go out there, have fun. Just react how you, as a fan, whatever, don't troll anybody, but just have fun. You could see, if you go back and watch it and pay more attention to the quote unquote fans at ringside, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You go to Raw or SmackDown, it feels like some clown is in the corner with the fucking light or the cue card, cheer, or boo. It's god-awful, god-awful. And you know what? Good point as well to Marcus Metcalf. What happened to Ruby Riot, Bianca Belair, and Shayna Baszler? I know Ruby Riot recently wrestled on Main Event. Bianca Belair, I guess they're just waiting. They're waiting after Backlash. She is nowhere to be found with the Street Profits all of a sudden. Remember when she was trying to straighten out the Street Profits, get serious? Remember that?
Yeah, they've been more goofy ever since. Yeah. I remember it was 5 weeks ago. But again, and now they're acting, we can get into that too, the another goofball segment. But yeah, where is Bianca Belair? Where is Ruby Riot? Because you were talking about DT, where can be opponents for Asuka, and we just probably named 2.
Yeah, Bianca Belair was on Main Event as well, but we're talking main roster, Raw. Where is she? But you're right. She comes out and she's basically trying to remember that scene? What movie was that? Moonstruck. It used to always be on TV, and Cher would be like, "Snap out of it." That's basically what Bianca Belair did 3 weeks ago.
That's right.
And it reminds me of a parent that says, I'm gonna go out with your father for a little while. Do not get nasty to the babysitter. No cookies, no ice cream, don't do nothing, no video games, do your homework and study. And the Street Profit kids are just standing there and like, yes, mom, yes, mom. And the minute the fucking Mrs. Bel-Air leaves the house, they fucking raid the refrigerator, raid the cookies. They're fucking playing fucking every game imaginable with the Viking Raiders. It's like children. They got berated from their mother, and as soon as their mother leaves, Bel-Air leaves the fucking room, and they do all this goofy shit.
Yeah.
God awful. Tonight, we could talk about that segment now, just to get that crap out of the way. Decathlon, it ends 5-5. What is this? At the end, it's going to be officially a tie, and everybody just mutual respect.
Yeah.
This is god awful. You know,
you can't even picture them. You can't even picture them getting into it now because it's such goofiness between them that you're not going to buy that someone rubbed the other guy the wrong way. Now it's going to be a fight because the War Raiders are so in goofball mode. Like, they're not. They used to be badasses from what I understood back in Japan and everywhere else. The Ring of Honor. This is not that team. Again, it's bushwhacker syndrome in my opinion. Sheep herders were badass, bushwhackers were a joke. And I don't know why. And listen, if they're enjoying doing that, the War Raiders guy, the Viking Raiders guys, they're enjoying it, then good for them. They might even say, hey, I'm enjoying it. Okay, that's great. I just, again, I don't know who thinks this is funny. I wouldn't mind if the segments were funny, DT. Like, he danced like Fandango, the fat guy dancing like Fandango, funny, ha, ha, ha. Again, Street Profits got charisma for days, but even they don't come off cool. They come off kind of corny, and I like the Street Profits.
The end of this is that the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders are going to be friends.
Yeah.
That's what it is. They're going to be friends. And this was, the Viking Raiders, this is what I truthfully believe. In looking back on everything, this is what I believe. They wanted the Viking Raiders to be goofy, comedic, and baby faces on Raw. And I think AOP will ultimately return sooner than later, hopefully. And they are not going to be baby faces, obviously. It's going to be interesting if Rollins gets rid of Murphy and Austin Theory once AOP are back on television. But the thing is that WWE wanted to make the Viking Raiders into, like kid-friendly baby faces. And they did that one scene in the car that came out of nowhere. And they got the fucking turkey leg and what was that rhyme they were doing in the car that time? And I remember all of us online on the show were like, what the fuck was this? The week before, they're serious, challenging for belts. And then all of a sudden they're in the car fucking doing jingles and stuff. And I think WWE realized that it fell so beyond flat that they're like, okay, we got to go to plan 2, plan B. How are we going to get these guys over? And then somebody came up with the idea, you know what? They were challenging the Street Profits. Now we'll have them challenge them to games. To fucking, just stupid shit. And by the goofiness, the Viking Raiders, they're Vikings. They like to throw axes. They like to eat raw meat. We're not going to see raw meat, but they're like primitive games. The Street Profits are athletic. They like to run. They like to this. They like to that. So the Street Profits will be more of sport that we see on television. The Viking Raiders will be more of sport in the 1600s. And at the end of the day, they're going to just like each other. And the Street Profits will help the Viking Raiders become that household, smile on your face. That's why one of the Viking Raiders is a ladies' man. All the ugly women are all attracted to him. And the other fucking Viking Raider, I don't know what, it's just...
He's the one who's married to Sarah Logan.
Yeah. So, look, I'm not saying that the Viking Raiders are bad people or anything like that. It's just that, they sacrificed being intimidating. They sacrificed it for comedy. And, it's sad because a lot of it falls flat. The segments are not very good. And, in the end, Benjamin says that maybe the tiebreaker is a wrestling match. That could very well be. But
That's not bad.
Who knows? Maybe AOP comes back and Rollins has 4 guys in his camp and it's Rollins' fucking camp versus the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders. You might see something like that. But
that's true. What you're saying is right. I mean, trying to put that to the side, I wasn't really thinking that the whole thing is them meant to be friends, because you're thinking they're adversaries because they're the 2 top teams, which is not saying much on that brand, battling for the tag team title. So how good of friends they could be. And honestly, I think it would actually be the Street Profits that turn heel eventually, which we were just saying about Bianca Belair trying to toughen them up, but then they quickly exited that little thing. Maybe they'll bring it back. I don't know. Maybe they just put it on ice for now, where she's trying to get under their skin, make them get tougher. So I can see Street Profits actually turning heel down the road. If they become friends and then they have eventual breakup, probably the Street Profits who turn.
Yeah, this could end up WWE, because of what's going on in the world right now and the tragedy. This could be WWE's thinking, like, in the end of this storyline, because I've said for the last bunch of years, WWE, and so many times, they want to do public service announcements instead of entertainment. I mean, we've talked about that countless times. At the end of this might be the public service announcement, like, hey, you know what? All walks of life could get along. And the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders talk about 2 different sides of the spectrum. And at the end of the day, they're going to smile, laugh, and they're going to hang out with each other and show that different people with different looks and different all shapes and sizes and races could get along. They won't say that on TV, but when they hug or they hang out and have a toast and basically laugh it up at the end of all of this, that's going to be the public service announcement. I'm telling you.
Yep. You're right.
I think that's what's going to happen. By the way, look, I'm excited for AEW Wednesday and I'm excited for NXT, but I was super stoked after our discussion yesterday that they announced Wednesday, even though it's non-title, Dexter Lumis taking on Adam Cole. That is the segue moment that we were talking yesterday. It's non-title. So, maybe Dexter Lumis gets a win with some type of interference. Who knows? But I don't see Dexter Lumis becoming champion anytime soon. But that is exactly the segue that I said yesterday. And
that should be fun. Yeah, it looks like both shows should be pretty good on Wednesday.
Yeah. And you know what? I appreciate also. Yesterday, we sung the praise big time of Damian Priest. And yesterday I thought was the best match of his NXT career. I thought, and I said yesterday, he lost. No, he won. Not on the level of Austin WrestleMania 13, but even though he lost, he won. And Triple H went out of his way yesterday to say that NXT yesterday, really, just Damian Priest went to the next level. And I really enjoyed to hear him say that.
He did, and did you see the post interview with Damian Priest where he was saying, "I lost, I got beat, but I didn't lose." So it was funny. He kind of, in a way, echoed what you were saying about the perception of him should be. He actually said that in the interview with the new girl they have who replaced Kelly. Yeah. And he said, "I didn't lose." He goes, "I upped my game, I upped my name." And he goes, "I'm fine." He goes on to the next thing. So he had like this cocky, confident. He wasn't pissed off. He wasn't like, "Yeah, I got to give me another match with Baszler." He said on to something
brushed it
else
off.
now. Yeah, he brushed it off. So that was actually a good call, DT. And if you go watch that, and you're like, "Holy shit!" I echo those words. And I didn't see that interview till after we did the show, late after me and you were done last night. So it's kind of eerie. I was saying, "Oh my God, DT said." That's probably what he should say, and that's what he said in the post interview. Straight up, go watch for yourself.
That's why I would, yesterday's recap is one of the favorite ones in recent years because so much of what went down yesterday pretty much is coming to fruition. Not even 24 hours later. And by the way, look, I know I like to pat myself on the back a little bit, but I want to mention this. Because some people earlier didn't even know why I was saying anniversary. But since it's officially June 9th, I want to just mention this for everybody out there. Right now, as of midnight, June 9th, 2020, it is 23 years ago today that I started doing a wrestling hotline. So from wrestling hotlines to webcasts to podcasts, from audio to video, it was 23 years ago today. One of the wrestling hotlines is still around, Dominic Valente. I used to be a guest once in a while on his hotline, Captain Ivan, all these others. And it was 1997. You know, I was still in bad shape from my car accident. There was people leaving messages on other people's hotlines. Like, that guy should get his own hotline. He's just great, this, and that. And after talking to Captain Ivan a little bit, he's like, yeah, you should do it. Try it, you know, see what it is. And it was June 9th, 1997. It was right after the ECW WrestlePalooza 97. And I think it was King of the Ring 97 as well. 2 or 3 days later, I did my first hotline report, and I was horrendous. I can't even describe how bad I was. I have hotline reports that I did 20 years ago. 22 years ago. I still have them. And I've put some rare ones on Patreon, and I'm going to put more up soon. You listen to me from 20 years ago, I sound like the ultimate goof, the ultimate nerd. And I never in a million years thought 23 years ago that I would still be doing this shit today. So I just figured I'd just share with everyone that it was 23 years ago today. Did my first hotline ever, talking about ECW, talking about WWF, and, you know, it was just pretty weird that it's 23 years already. I mean, that's to think that I started doing it before the Montreal Screwjob. That just, you know, gives an idea as far as how long it's been. But anyway, let's see. Oh, another thing Triple H said yesterday, that he really wanted Michael Hayes to show up and do a cameo yesterday on the pay-per-view. But he said that he wanted him to cut his hair. I'll tell you the truth, man. I would have compromised, and when maybe you do something when Gargano walked past his picture, maybe you could have just heard Michael Hayes' voice in the background or something, but I don't blame Michael Hayes for not wanting to cut his hair just for a quick cameo on the next NXT pay-per-view.
Well, he's 65. Maybe you need a haircut anyway.
Yeah, he'll be 80 to grow that hair that long again. You know,
he's holding on for dear life.
Yeah. You know, I want to bring this up before we get back to Raw and a couple other quick things. We're going to wrap this up in about 20 minutes, 15 minutes. Shout out to Chris Adams, Douglas McKay, Paul Smith, Cal Robert, Chris DeMars, and what school do you go to? Our new and returning patrons. Tomorrow you have Castle Chronicles, right? Your solo show?
Yeah, 8:15 tomorrow night on Discord for Patreon sign up. Patreon.
Absolutely. Mish and I will be doing Breakfast Soup probably Saturday instead of Sunday, since Sunday is Backlash. Pay-per-view predictions will be towards the end of the week because things are going to change with Smackdown a little bit. There's a little bit of controversy going on online right now. I got some info, but you know, I don't have all this confirmed yet. But a lot of you may have seen the video that Tamina put out earlier today. Did you see it? You get a chance to see it?
Okay. Yeah, I saw it. Mm-hmm.
She's basically showing herself in a mental hospital. And she's in like a room, I don't know if it was a padded room, and she's, you know, trying to be nice and nasty, and it looks like she's in a straitjacket. It was a great fucking video. Then it disappeared. And when it disappeared, I emailed 2 people that I confide in, and I said, what's the deal with the video being pulled? And both of them gave me the same answer. So I don't know if this is 100% true, but from what I understand, WWE was not happy that Tamina was doing a skit bringing up mental health, because WWE is very, you know, like things are very fragile right now, especially, you know, with Hana Kimura's suicide and, you know, talking about, yeah, so WWE was not happy that she did a video that opens up with mental hospital. Like, that's not something you spoof. And they asked Tamina to take it down. That is the story that I got, you know.
Okay.
So, you know, we look, of course, that video will live in infamy now because some people have downloaded it. But yeah, that's the story that I got. So take it with a grain of salt. You're going to see me write breaking news, our sources. That's the story I got. And like I said, the two people don't know each other as far as I know. And they both told me the exact same thing.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw it. I wasn't sure. And, you know, and I was saying, again, they're going to start something else up with this woman again in her 40s at the tail end of her career. There's a new gimmick. Shouldn't they have done this a long time ago? And I didn't know that they pulled it, DT, but I saw it before it got pulled, and I, you know, snarky comment about it, but all in fun. Nothing. I have no, you know, venom against Tamina or anything. I'm just not a fan, but I have nothing against her personally. But again, I thought the same thing. I'm like, wow, is that, you know, not only, you know, PC, but is that appropriate at the moment for what's been going on with people who are facing, and not just the thing with the Japanese girl who committed suicide, but just in general, there's a lot of you know, people facing a lot of mental health issues with being locked down, losing their jobs, angst over this situation with the protesting, and people just feeling depressed and down. So yeah, well, it probably wasn't a smart thing, but DT, she produced that herself. That wasn't a WWE thing?
No, it was not a WWE thing.
Wow, I thought it was a WWE thing.
She's done some things on her own. Try to build her character a little bit. Yeah, a lot of the stuff is, you know, just, it's not hard to do, you know, if you actually know what you're doing.
Though. It didn't look like, you know.
Well, she's got other people helping her. She's not just like turning the camera on and then going on the floor and then. You know.
Will she face trouble for that, DT? Consequences?
No, because there was no malicious intent. It's not that she was trying to embarrass,
company,
you know, the company or try to, you know, put light on mental illness. It was nothing like that. Tamina is not one of those to start that stuff. So, shout out to Anna. We know on Patreon, Don Tony's political advisor. Did you get a chance to see Jim Cornette's video with FTR yet?
I heard some of it. Yeah, I listen to Cornette all the time. I heard some of it. Yeah, why?
I was, you know, look, I heard bits of it. I was going to bring it up on Wednesday. You know, I'm not as big of a fan of Cornette as I was, you know, in recent years. And many years ago, I just couldn't stand him at all. Too many things rubbed me the wrong way with him. Very hypocritical. He just hates other people for a lot of things, and he's twice as guilty for doing the same shit himself in a different way. But, you know, I thought his interview was excellent. The only problem is that you had all these AEW, like, diehards running to Tony Khan and Cody and everything. Like, you're not thinking of bringing Cody. I even saw this guy, not Ed Snowden. I don't remember his name. He's a wrestling writer, and he's got a blue check mark. I think Snowden is the traitor of the United States or something.
Right. No, I know you though.
But that guy actually wrote that he would be devastated if AEW were to sign Cornette. Dude, no disrespect. I'd be devastated if my parents died. I'd be devastated if I got diagnosed with cancer. I don't get devastated if somebody gets a job for a fucking wrestling company. I'd be devastated if Jim Cornette signed with AEW. Actually use the word devastated. What's wrong with you? Seriously. What Jonathan Snowden.
Yeah. He's, again.
How do you even write that? I'll be devastated.
I have no idea. I mean, you know, Cornette's not going to work at AEW, so it's not a problem.
It's just ridiculous, man. I'd be pissed off too.
You know,
I'd be pissed if AEW hired Cornette, but devastated.
He said to as much as accuse Kenny of banging underage Japanese children. I mean, he's said some heinous shit about Kenny Omega, who's a high up in that company. He says heinous shit about the Young Bucks. Again, people are like, oh, you know, people, money talks. About Cornette isn't Hulk Hogan. Let's calm down. He's not going to change the game going in there. And Cornette admits as much. He's not moving the needle or anything. And he doesn't like to fly, and he refuses to get on a plane at this point, he says. So he's not going to be able to even work there for just his own set in life ways that he is now near 60 years old. So again, it was never going to happen anyway. It just has always been a thing that is, these guys were a throwback team, and they would fit good with Cornette back in the day. Go back in the time machine, and Cornette would manage these guys, right? This is a perfect matchup. Yeah, correct. It's never going to happen though in modern times.
Yeah. By the way, I want to give a shout out to Chris Iverson. I told him I was going to be talking about some stuff on NXT stars that he brought up. I'm going to talk about that Wednesday as part of the NXT discussion, because some of the names that he brought up, Damian Priest, Loomis, Cross, we're going to talk about that Wednesday. So keep your thought until Wednesday. Absolutely. Getting back to Raw tonight, we talked about a decent amount already. Asuka opens up the show, Charlotte opens up the show, and we think they're going to have a one-on-one. They get interrupted by Sasha and Bayley. They're talking smack. We get interrupted by the Iconics, and next thing we know, we have Charlotte and Asuka versus Bayley and Sasha Banks. No, the Iconics and Bayley, Sasha Banks. I don't know, man. To me, it was forced and put together. The Iconics showed, again, Billie Kay, all due respect, I don't even call her the Marty Jannetty of the team, because she's just horrendous. I know people out there, Steve Mongo McMichael, for some reason now, there's a fetish of making fun of his wrestling that he did in 1998. I challenge those people to fucking do the same thing towards Billie Kay. They don't have the balls to do it. But, if you're going to make fun of one person or criticize one person's ability, how's about, doing it for others as well, or at least acknowledging it? Billie Kay is a drizzling shits. Some of that stuff that she did tonight was just god-awful. And I even did a social media search on her name tonight just to see, kind of reaction. And for every 10 comments, 9 of them were negative about her in-ring work today. Then you have the random goof that's like, she's really improved and, since she's returned. I swear to God, do a Twitter search for Billie Kay tonight and look back when the match went down. There is actually...
I'm sure someone will write something nasty to me before putting her down tonight. There's always a couple of those people. It's always going to happen.
Yeah. In the end, Asuka gets the win, and to set up the match later on the night between the two, Charlotte thinks she's going to do the moonsault. Asuka tags herself in, and Asuka does her finisher, and even that, it didn't even look good. But then Charlotte is pissed off that, Asuka took it upon herself to get the win, and Charlotte lays out Asuka, and that sets up the match later on.
Yep.
Pretty much how it went down. Rey Mysterio, injury update. I guess Seth Rollins invites him to show up next week. We'll see what happens with his son. My idea last week about his son joining Seth Rollins' group would be fascinating if it happens. I still don't see anybody talking about that. No. Mysterio basically, the one thing I laughed about Mysterio's promo, I don't know if you found this funny too, but Mysterio was angry. Seth Rollins almost blinded him. And Rey Mysterio was so fucking pissed off. And he's like, when I get back, now think about this for a minute. Somebody almost blinds me, and I'm finally going to get my hands on that person. No disrespect intended to Rey Mysterio, but do you realize how much of a fucking goof you sound like? Seth, when I get my hands on you, I'm going to hit you with the 619. I mean, out of everything, like I could see if you were going to like attach maybe like spikes on your shin or your calf area and you're going to do it to that. But that's how you gain revenge. The first words out of your mouth, I'm going to hit you with the 619. Oh, I'm scared. I'm scared. My shoulder is hurting already. I'm scared. When I saw that tonight, I thought it was so fucking stupid. You're going to get revenge. And the first words out of his mouth is, I'm going to hit you with the 619.
Yeah.
Horrendous, man.
Stupid. Yeah,
just stupid shit. Little stupid things like that. Even when they announced the three-way tag match, it went to a commercial break. And right when it was leaving for the commercial break, the Iconics are on the ring. And then it comes back from the commercial break 5 minutes later, and what do we see? What were they yelling for 5 fucking minutes during the commercials? Oh, just so many things tonight pissed me off. Although Aleister Black jumping Seth Rollins looked pretty cool.
Yeah, it did. And we talked about the Peep Show with Christian and Edge and with the crowd reaction, and that really didn't lead to anything. Street Profits and Viking Raiders. And then what about the MVP Lounge thing, DT, with Drew McIntyre coming out and Lashley trying to
I tell you, man.
Now the full Nelson, he's bringing back the Ken Patera, Billy Jack Haynes full Nelson, Chris Masters full Nelson, which no one uses anymore, DT. They're bringing back the full Nelson.
I'm starting to think Lashley wins the belt. Maybe not now, but Lashley, my immediate thinking is Lashley wins the belt. Brock Lesnar comes back. Here's that match that supposedly it's a fantasy for everybody, Lesnar versus Lashley. But I tend to think a little bit more, maybe a little rematch with Lesnar versus McIntyre is probably more apropos, because even though they don't invoke rematch clauses anymore, you know, that'll just be added in. And by the way, what happened to the fucking invitational thing?
What do you mean with
Did we have anybody on SmackDown show up for an invitational tonight?
No, I don't think we did. Did we? No.
I don't even remember if we had the invitational last week. Suddenly, nobody wants to show up.
Bailey and Sasha, if you consider that.
No, they're tag champs, so they got to show up on all the brands.
True. Yeah, I would have thought Bliss and Nikki Cross would have came out tonight. But
yeah, no, they didn't show up. But Aleister Black and Humberto beat Austin Theory and Murphy 2 minutes. Nothing really there.
Nah.
The one thing, you know, look, I don't have any problem with Andrade facing Apollo Crews at Backlash. Apollo Crews is probably going to retain, but they did a 3-way today of Angel Garza, Andrade, and Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, very disgruntled, not sure if we're going to see a character change there. But one thing that I thought was ridiculous is there's one point where Garza and Andrade are like trying to like pull each other outside the ring, and they're kind of like angry at each other, and Zelina Vega tries to break it up, and they accidentally knock Zelina Vega down. Yeah. So match goes on. Andrade pins Angel Garza. So after, you know, the match is over and they're in the back after commercial, you know, like Zelina Vega, you know, shows up and she's fucking pissed off because they knocked her to the ground. And I'm saying to myself, goof, in storyline, your fucking guy is going to possibly get the title back at Backlash. What's more important? What happened to the bigger picture here? The fucking Andrade won. He got the title match for Sunday. So she's all fucking disgruntled. And I'm like, you fucking guys. That's why, like I said, the storylines were very, very sloppy tonight. It just felt like they were just winging it, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I felt the show was like, just winging the show. That's what it felt like. You're right. Good way to sum it up.
Kurt Angle looked like he was reading cue cards. You know,
he did.
You see that?
I did.
Oh man, you look back. I thought he was doing like reading cue cards for like a Chevrolet dealership.
I've had some good matches myself back in.
Yeah, and
I know good matches.
Yeah, but even the pause where he's like, "If I have to choose a winner, I'm good." Like it was just so perfectly read. Like, if I have to choose a winner, I'll go with Edge. Like it was just so. Oh, it felt like cue cards, man. Even that was like, you know, the MVP with Lashley coming out later, and then we had Lashley and MVP taking on the Viking Raiders, and they actually beat the Viking Raiders. You know, this is, I guess, to help give momentum for Lashley going into the pay-per-view. I like Drew McIntyre. As of right now, maybe my feelings change by the end of the week, but I think Drew McIntyre is going to retain. We might have some clusterfuck finish. I wouldn't even be surprised that them having this match with the Viking Raiders, maybe MVP tries to get involved in a match Sunday and the Viking Raiders come out and tries to stop him, and maybe Lashley is distracted for a minute, or maybe Lana comes out and distracts Lashley, and Drew McIntyre gets the win. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
So then we had the main event, which was Asuka and Charlotte, which we talked about already.
Good match, but Nia came out to break that up, and then of course Charlotte got the pin in the end, which was the way to go.
Yeah,
keep Charlotte hot, so to speak, after her loss last night, even though she didn't take the pin last night. But
yeah,
keeps her in the mix for the world title.
It was a hard sell for me to think that the Iconics laid out Bayley and Sasha Banks, took them out.
Yeah, that was a hard sell.
That's really stretching it here, but I don't know, man.
Hey, DT, back in the day, we had to watch the Young Stallions go toe-to-toe with Demolition, so we could suspend disbelief.
Yeah. I just I wasn't feeling it, but again, I kind of wish that the chants were a little more organic, because again, if you go back and you watch it tonight, and I agree with you, Joe Punches. Like Bret Hart said, the best wrestlers are also huge wrestling fans. You could see, Triple H with the NXT fans, the way they react last night, and you see this tonight, and it just feels so forced, and it's almost like piped in chants. And, a lot of times for me, watching AEW, Raw, Smackdown, NXT, whatever it is, even Impact, you have a real energetic live crowd there. It makes the overall product that much more enjoyable. And, when you have these forced narratives, the fake reactions, and it's always the same. You know what it reminded me of? There was one girl tonight, I don't know who it was, but she was louder with her boos than anyone else. And every time a heel came out, you heard her go, ah! It reminded me when I was a kid, when I used to watch Brady Bunch. And every time I'd watch Brady Bunch, there was always this one fucking laugh that you would hear in the audience, like the same fucking annoying laugh. And then I realized after some episodes that this is all fucking piped in. It's all it's not the same goof laughing the exact same way. You would hear the same laugh like 20 times during an episode.
I just watched it the other day, kid. I watched it. Yeah, watched it 2 days ago. It was on.
Yeah, I haven't watched it since I was a kid.
Old school laugh tracks from the 70s.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Tonight's Raw was not spectacular at all. But, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have 7 matches already announced for Backlash. We'll see what changes between now and Friday. And, probably talk about it a little bit after SmackDown. Don't forget Tuesday, everyone. You got AEW Dark. They have 8 matches announced. And, as I said last week, Moxley is on Dark. Just to build up a little name value, especially when Dark makes the jump likely to TNT, which is going to happen, should be by the fall of this year, especially if they go back to live crowds. One other thing I wanted to share, I don't know if you heard about this, but remember the segment 2 weeks ago with Otis doing the satire, the tribute to Fast Times?
Yeah.
Chelsea Green revealed that WWE, approached her and said, can we use yours and Zach's pool for that segment? And apparently Zack Ryder, actually I think Zack Ryder is the one that told the story online. Zack Ryder revealed that WWE approached Chelsea Green and asked her if they could use their pool for the Otis segment.
That's right.
And fucking Zack Ryder, boo-hoo-hoo, You know, he fucking got all upset like, you fire me, then you want to use my pool? Fuck no. And it's funny because he got offended that they approached her and not him. Breaking news, goof. She still works for the company. So
exactly.
So of course they get asked. And the thing is that what's yours is hers and what's hers is hers. So it's not your fucking pool, it's their pool. But yeah, he balked at it, so they used someone else's pool instead.
Yeah, I thought that was all ado about nothing. She still works there, and they gave him employment for a long, long time.
Yeah.
They treated him good. Let's not nitpick, you know. Yeah. And then he could have maybe made a couple of bucks off it. He didn't say that they didn't offer to pay him. So I mean, come on.
And yeah, no, that was intentional, everyone. I don't do woo woo woo. Now he's a fucking crying baby. So now I say boo hoo hoo. You know, you whiner. So that's what it is. Boo hoo hoo, you whiner. It's instead of you know it, you whiner. You know, I mean, he had a pretty damn good career.
He did. He had a long stretch there, a very long stretch.
You know, he should be thankful for that. I don't blame him for being offended. You know, if my employer fired me and then maybe wanted to use my art, I probably would have reacted the same way. The difference is boo hoo hoo. You should have just fucking kept the story off the net. Because now I want to see fucking WWE job out Chelsea Green to Robert Stone in 18 seconds. And I want to see you go online like and go, boo hoo hoo, what are they doing to my woman? You know, he should have kept the fucking story offline. You know, we didn't need to know that.
I know we're getting ready to wrap it up. Just give me 10 seconds to give a couple of thanks here for some people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shout out Mish, Trez, John Krauser, Jason Solomonster, Adam DeMoy, and JD from New York all did something nice for me for my birthday last week. And so I want to shout out those guys. And thank you and John Draper for coming on last week. We had a good time on the show, and it's uploaded. You can, if you join Patreon, you can go check it out now, right, TT?
Yeah, and I apologize to Ben from G-Town. He knows why. He knows why. I talked to him publicly. It's nothing personal, Ben, but you know, you can't be putting people on spots like that. That's just not fair because
I just think it was lost in translation.
Yeah, I mean, you know, number one, I'm on location. Number two, I have everything set up on timers. And, you know, and then three, if I'm like, no, you know, then I look like a bad guy. It's just
no,
it's
we
not
ended
right
on
to
time.
do.
We didn't even intend to go late anyway.
Oh, yeah, no, it was fine. But I'm just saying, like, you know, it's just, it was, I know he didn't mean it that way, but it fucking pissed me off because I was just tired and cranky and, you know.
You were in a bad mood that night, too.
You know what it is, too? I'm dead serious, man. I'll say this now, and we can end it on this.
Bad mood, DT.
Well, you know what it is? This is the truth. If anybody goes back and listens to the conversation when I first came on, I was in Rockaway with my parents Tuesday night.
Oh, no, I know the story.
And there was a protest earlier that day on Mott Avenue in Far Rockaway, which was a beautiful thing to see. One of my customers was there. I praised it online. But when you go a little bit deeper on social media, there were people out there trying to provoke and start shit. And 4 blocks away from my parents' house, there were a couple of guys from Far Rockaway that were going up and down blocks with spray paint and spray painting cars. So there were people trying to show up in Bell Harbor and start fucking causing property damage and fucking with people and this and that. And, you know, just everybody was uneasy. You know, so I had a hard time even trying to fall asleep that night. You know, the slightest little sound outside, you wonder if somebody's trying to fucking do something to your parents' house. I mean, for people that don't know the story, and a lot of people do, that my father, who used to be a huge Trump supporter, had a banner out 4 years ago for him for president, and his doorbell rang at 3 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, this woman is at the door and his woman's like, you know, there's a fire. And it ends up that the woman that rang the doorbell actually was the one that started the fire. She lit the banner on fire and was afraid that it was going to burn the house down. So
I didn't even know. Wait. I never heard that. The one who rang the bell was the one
who rang the, you know what?
I didn't know.
Last week I recorded a few seconds with my mom. My mom and my dad would never come on to this stuff. But I'm going to bring up the conversation with my mom either tomorrow or next week. And I'm going to say, oh, you remember when that woman, rang your doorbell at 3 a.m. and almost burnt the house down? She'll say it. So, when you remember things like that and you see people online scattered trying to start wars and start fights and this and that, it's very uneasy feeling. And, that culminated with guilt, trying to put a guilt trip on me. And, it was the perfect song for me to say, Ben, adios.
Right.
Yeah.
Ben, it's all good.
So,
it's all good now. Ben.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So,
all right, DT, let you get out of here because we want to get out.
Yeah. All right. Catch you tomorrow.
All right, everybody. Peace out.
All right. Later. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Gonna get out of here. Now, listen, as far as Edge doing the interview with ESPN, basically saying, is it really going to be the greatest wrestling match of all time? No. Going to get into it Friday with the overall Backlash pay-per-view predictions. There's a couple other topics that I'm going to get into Friday as well. And this Wednesday, on Wednesday Night Dynamite, we'll get into AEW. Dynamite, we'll get into NXT. We'll talk about the ratings from last week, which was very interesting. Having vibes early on that NXT may actually win this week in the ratings again. So everyone, before you go, if you are enjoying this episode, I would appreciate it if you hit the like button. It's not like, this isn't Twitter where you give me likes for everything I say. It's not that. It's by hitting the like button, it definitely gives this episode as a recommendation for other wrestling fans out there that may be looking for other shows that they never heard of before. I don't know how much they would like this one, but that helps, obviously. If you're enjoying the channel, hit the subscribe button. As you can see, broke 12,000, and that's because I saw a surge of people tuning in to the rant that I did 2 weeks ago, and even, Friday's episode of the Don Tony Show, that was pretty big as well. So I thank you all for that. And let's get to 13,000 as quickly as possible. And remember, when we hit the magic number of 15,000, Mish and I will be back doing some type of challenge. Doesn't always have to involve food. Last time we did the one chip challenge, I still have the poster somewhere, for hitting 10,000 subscribers. That was March 27th, my birthday. So in about 2 months, we got another 2,000 subscribers, which is awesome. So keep it coming, everyone. I didn't even think we were going to hit 10,000 by the end of the year. And we're already at 12. And I started this channel about 4.5 months ago. So much love, everybody. Thank you for the support. And I'll be back next Monday night for the DTKC show, which will be the 15th of June already. Everyone, stay safe, stay strong. It's rough out there for more reasons, obviously, than could be discussed on one show. But everyone, just keep strong, stay safe, be well, and I'll catch you all again this Wednesday for Wednesday Night Dynamite. So everyone, be well. And I will catch you all again Wednesday. Take care. Ciao.
Don-O-Mite.
It was fun to channel surf. It was kind of hard to do a little pocket pool after you hitting the last channel button 50 times for 2 hours plus.
Don-O-Mite.
And his whole idea of overanalyzing, oh, he's an alcoholic and he misplaced the belt. And how could you have someone champion like that? The fuck out of here.
Wednesday night.
Don-O-Mite, you can have fun. You really are.